I'd like to call the Housing First Subcommittee to order. It is now commenced. It's November 26th at 4 p.m. This meeting is to be held virtually. For those who are participating remotely, we ask that you mute yourself until called upon to speak to avoid feedback and background noise. For those who have dialed using a call-in number to unmute to speak, dial *6 on your phone, and then you should be able to use the chat function to request to speak. Also, to comply with the state open meeting law, attendance and votes will be done by way of roll call using audio. This meeting is being recorded. To comply with the state open meeting law, attendance and votes will be done by way of roll call using audio, not by using chat function. First agenda item is approval of September meeting minutes. All commissioners have had an opportunity to receive those and review those. Are there any objections to approval of the September meeting minutes? I see no objections. The September meeting minutes have been approved. Agenda item number 2 is a Housing First update by HCD. And I believe Kat's doing that.
Yes. Is Kat doing that? No, I think that I am doing that. So me and
Brandon.
Me and Kim. So somebody, I was sharing my screen. Is it the Housing First update, or did you guys want to know more about Housing First and what we're doing?
It's the update.
Okay. So I can probably just say that. I probably don't need to share my screen then. I'm on here. So I'm gonna have Kim next to me here. So some of the things that we're still doing in Housing First is outreach services, homeless protocol, as you all know, lives in our area. So we're still doing that, even though Mari Vasquez out of the city manager's office kind of duly manages that with my team. She helps us with the HCC effort. As you guys may know, the Housing Central Command effort that's happening here to decommission some of these encampments. Navigation services are still in our shop. Shelter services, we only have the one now, Wildcat. We do oversee the facility at Knights Inn, which is a Pima County run EELS program, and at Desert Cove, which is a CBI run shelter with 29 units, men and women. So we do oversee the facility. We have Allison Chapel that oversees that piece of it. We do have voucher retention programs at this point and eviction prevention. So Fernando Ortiz, who just was promoted into the supervisor role in our division, oversees those programs. So you score in public housing, Tucson House, other places, you get a certain score, and then you're eligible for that eviction prevention around public housing, right? So we have also voucher retention case management, and that's our HEART team. So our Housing Emergency Action Response team keeps people in their housing once they've been vouchered into a living arrangement, an apartment, a single family residence. If it's a larger family, we provide the case management ongoing so that they're able to keep their housing. We also have new, I don't think that you have had an update since we've received all of these programs, but we have some permanent supportive housing. Those are funded out of the COC, the Continuum of Care. Kat Davis is on here, and she's our new manager for that area. And so we do have Shelter Plus Care 2. We have Shelter Plus Care TRA, which is tenant-based rental assistance. Then we have Frontiers, which is a youth program, 18 to 24. So altogether, we're going to eventually have 170 units. We inherited more than that, but we're kind of downsizing that grant right now, just so that we can boost up the supportive services side of the house, right? We want to maybe, take a hit on reduction in beds, but boosting up those wraparound services so that we can get people what they need in their housing, right? So we have that now, and that's the reason for Fernando promoting into the position of supportive or supervisor. So he oversees all of those programs and the staff that do the direct service on those. So it's all about in this area for Housing First, for me, it's all about, and I think that people with some nonprofit background on this call will know that boosting up your supportive services and your wraparound services is where it's at. That's how you keep people housed. That's how you get people housed. And that's what we're trying to do and prove in some of these pilots here at the city of Tucson, right? We're also exploring the H2O program, and that's through Access. I'm not sure, I think maybe Tisha, you've probably heard some about it in various meetings that we've had, conferences, stuff like that. And so we're really working with Elizabeth DaCosta to get that stuff on board. We do have an inspection, so to speak, that Banner Health is coming to do on the 6th of December at our Wildcat, because in order to be involved in the H2O program, we do have to get CARF certified. And I think some people know, I'm not sure what the definition of CARF is, but I've gone through it at Old Pueblo. When I was at Old Pueblo, which is a nonprofit, we had to go through CARF certification. So it's many things, right? So let me see if I can see what this stands for, a CARF acronym.
It is certification of rehab facilities.
Yes, so there you go. So, and usually it's for nonprofits, right? So, and we know this, we had to go through the CARF process at our veteran property when I was with Old Pueblo to get certain grants, to do some SAMHSA grants that we had coming on board, to administer the GIPRA. So this is really good because now we're getting into this deeper dive stuff, right? With Access, we're going to be able to do some, and we're not doing the whole round robin of Access. So we're not doing the housing piece, but we are doing the shelter piece of it, the shelter and navigation piece of it. So that's going to give us some longer term stable funding. And it's not as complicated as the Access billing of the past that we all are probably familiar with here. Access billing can be a beast. We know, we went through that Old Public Community Services. By the way, everyone, this is Kim Noble. Kim Noble does operate, she's our manager over our navigation, outreach, and our permanent supportive housing. So we have a manager that supports that supervisor in all of the things, right? So she oversees all of that stuff. And we thought we had to give a presentation. So she was ready to give a presentation today, but since this is just an update, I'm just going to update you on the various things. Also at the moment, I see Mindy's hand up. Do we want to ask?
I do have a question. Do you know the new access code that pays for housing?
I don't. It's either an I code or a Z code. I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but I'll find out for you, Mindy.
Would you?
Yeah, I'll find out for you. Write that down.
And we are, once the update is done, Brandy, we are scheduled for a presentation on various Housing First programs. It's probably
Okay. So
yeah, we're just up on update right now. And also, Brandy, to know, Elizabeth did come and speak to our subcommittee on the H2O program.
Oh, beautiful. So I'm not gonna take too deep of a dive so that we can get some real, we can share the presentation and give you guys a higher level overview of everything that's happening. But those are just some of the updates. I'm also currently overseeing community safety, health, and wellness as the interim director. So Lee's staff, so Lee is the resource manager there, and we have 10 staff on the community safety, health, and wellness side. And that is all about VIVA, you know, the vitalization action, the violence interruption and vitalization action, which is formerly PNI, Place Network Investigations. So this is where complexes have a high crime rate or gun violence occurrences. And you know, that team, our community enrichment coordinators go in and they activate that community, they activate that space with engagement, just deep engagement, finding out if people's apartments are up to par, getting people involved in being eyes in that complex, opioid harm reduction, like Narcan distribution, things of that nature. So we're kind of doing some things in that area. Well, we are doing some things in that area on the community safety side of the house, as well as as well as having our care coordinators that do a lot of eviction prevention. So Housing First was able to provide community safety with some dollars out of one of our grants that we were issued to do some real deep dive eviction prevention and save a lot of people's housings because they are tied into the 311 line as well. So that's just a brief overview about some of the things that are happening immediately. And Kim will dive in a little deeper about some of the things, and we have a little piece on community safety at the end of that presentation.
Any questions for Brandy before we move to the next agenda item? And I do want to, Neto, so you do have this for the meeting as well. I do want to note that I'm present, chair of the Housing First Committee. Mindy is also present. Mark Clark is present, and Wendy Asher. So the entire subcommittee is present today. Okay, with that, we'll go to item number 3, which is discussion presentation of the various models of Housing First program. Kimberly Noble.
So I'm gonna share the screen if I can have permission to share the screen.
And you do, you have co-hosting.
Do I? Okay.
Thank you, Brandy.
Oh, thank you. Let's see. So here we are. Okay, can you all see that?
Yeah.
Is it in presentation mode though? This is the screen that's sharing. That's why. Not like that. Hold on 1 second. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm having some technical difficulties. Let's see. Okay, so maybe we can change it to this screen. Here we go. Hi, Oscar. Hold on. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm having some technical difficulties with all these screens.
That's okay. You can also just not do the presentation and tell us what. There you go.
Can you see the big screen?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you can see it. Okay. So here we go. So Kim, do you want to start?
Okay, so we already did the overview of the team objectives. So, all right, so let me go to the next slide. And they can see the slides? Is that what you're
Yeah, they
saying?
can see the slides.
Okay, so then, so shelter services is a big part of the services that we offer in Housing First. And so the shelters are where we help rebuild communities and self-worth. We teach harm reduction and assist with document collection to prepare our residents for a stable housing situation. Okay, and so then we have the outreach and navigation services. So the outreach teams consist of the City of Tucson outreach, the coordinated entry navigators, and the multidisciplinary outreach team. And so the programs that we offer are the supportive services only, coordinated entry navigation. And so these are the navigators that provide VI SPDATs, which are the Vulnerability Index Service Prioritization Decision Assistance Tool, assessments to folks experiencing homelessness, as well as serving as a mobile access point in the community. This assists participants in document collection and application completion, as well as enrollment into mainstream benefits. We have community safety navigators, and their role is they are the people that go out onto the streets to engage with those experiencing unsheltered homelessness, also conducting assessments, connecting people to shelter, document collection, and working toward a permanent place to live. The street outreach and homeless protocol, this concentrates on unsheltered people, usually in homeless encampments in coordination with homeless protocol or individually. And then the MDOT team, the multidisciplinary outreach team, focuses on homeless encampments with El Rio nurse practitioner, outreach from OPCS and outreach from City of Tucson. So shelter operations. So we're providing individuals and families with a safe place to live while they transition into housing. The Wildcat Inn is our shelter that we have right now. It's a low barrier shelter. We're currently serving 106 individuals, which includes 41 children. We have medical collaboration with El Rio. They come every Monday and meet with our clients and meet their medical needs. Homeless work program collaboration with OPCS. Detox services when needed through Cornerstone, which is now El Dorado, but we still work closely with them, though they changed their name. Activities for the children courtesy of Ward 3. And I think that you can see on the photos, you can see a lot of the Ward 3, the activities and things that we get to participate, the children get to participate in because of the Ward 3 helping us in that area. So document collection and housing preparedness, harm reduction solutions and low barrier admission requirements with accountability standards.
So I just want to touch on that a little bit. The
Yeah.
harm reduction solutions, is that, so the harm reduction solutions are things like, you know, there's rules, especially of course, because there's children on property. So, harm reduction, it can be anything like, okay, so we caught you smoking in your room. We're going to do a behavioral contract, right? Smoking cigarettes. Or if you're smoking something worse, then it might be a little harsher. But our whole goal is to get people to a place where they can self-sustain. We all know that you cannot do that actively using, right? You're never going to be successful if you're actively using. So we want to get people in a frame of mind and headed towards recovery. So maybe people do some type of treatment, that they agree to a detox program. If they're caught in their room smoking something other than cigarettes, we, want to get them some treatment. Also making sure that people have Narcan if they're using off-site. We don't want something to happen, right? So we do, give people that we know are actively using Narcan. We work really closely with DCS when needed. They can come on property so that people can do a case plan successfully and move into their house and eventually either reunify with their children or keep their children and do an in-home case plan. So even though we're low barrier, and we have low admission requirements, there are accountability standards that we have, right? You have to be accountable and you have to have some skin in the game. I just wanted to put that out there because oftentimes people think that low barrier means nothing. You don't have to do anything, and that's just not true. So let me go to the next slide here.
Okay, so then we also have the mobile shower program. And then that's engaging with the community through serving a basic need, which is providing showers to the community. Our locations include Primavera Drop-In Center, which we go to 2 times weekly, St. Francis and Zion City. The shower trailer, so it consists of a shower trailer, a Chevy 4x4, and a liftgate truck. That's what we need to provide this service. We have towels, washcloths, soap, shampoo, conditioner. We have 2 6,500 HP generators, horsepower generators, 2 pop-up tents, 6 lock boxes for the people that are taking showers can secure their belongings while they shower. 2 tables, 4 chairs, 4 trash cans, office supplies, and administrative supplies. We have 2 staff that provide this service in the community, and we can hook up anywhere where there is a direct water source, hose bib spout, and a sewer to offload gray and black water.
And how long do they get? I didn't include that. How long do they get in showers?
Oh, okay, so they get 20 minutes? It's 20
I
minutes.
think it's
Yeah,
20 minutes.
20 minutes.
Yeah. So it's a
And,
really go ahead.
Mindy has a question.
I
Okay.
do. Are there clean clothes being provided?
Yes.
Mhm. So we get a lot of donations,
Mhm.
Mindy.
Yeah,
We have them here at the hub. on this presentation at the end, we have the address to the hub, and we're always doing volunteer activities. I would love to invite this group to come and do a volunteer. We've had procurement here, we've had water, we've had TEP here, we've had the city manager's office, the ELT came, and they did some meal kits with us. So we have a volunteer coordinator that organizes all of our volunteer activities. We'd love you to come and see. We are eventually going to rehab the hub into better office space and jump space, kind of like, I don't know if anybody's been out to what is that community where we go out to have the TPCH meetings.
It's
Community Foundation.
Yes.
That's what it is.
mhm.
So if you've been there, they have like an open kitchen concept with tables and jump spaces and phone booths where people can have privacy. They call them phone booths, but they're really like small meeting rooms. So we're gonna eventually rehab the hub here, the community safety hub into that. We're working really closely with the city manager's office. So we'll invite you at the end of this to come out and please take a tour and look at our space here so that you can be up close and see kind of better what we're doing here.
Cool. Thank you.
So, so this is just another view of the mobile shower program. As you can see on the top right, there is a ramp. So one of these showers is handicap accessible where a wheelchair can roll up in and also have a shower. So, and there being plenty here. This is during Halloween when we took these
I
pictures. So. They're trying to have a little humor. Yeah, so, okay, so we'll continue.
Okay, so we have our voucher retention and eviction prevention services that we offer. This housing navigation team provides housing education and seeks to identify opportunities and addresses barriers to housing retention for individuals and families who have received their housing subsidy after exiting street, shelter, transitional, and other forms of homelessness. Eviction prevention aims to provide the support needed to the client and the landlord to prevent an eviction resulting in homelessness for the participant. So the programs that administer these services is we have the HEART Navigators, which is the Housing Emergency Response Team. We have Crowd to Home, which provides the eviction prevention funding. We have the 311 call center partnership that we have out here. We get all the housing calls through 311. And we have the Justice Modular. So we have 2 Justice Navigators that go over to the transition center outside Pima County Jail. And they have a lot of resources that they can offer people coming out of jail. And so that's one of they live here in our department. So the Housing Emergency Action Response Team provides navigation and case management services to ensure the participant member understands their obligation for the Section 8 voucher and lease agreement. It provides information and advocacy for wraparound services. Crowd to Home transitions clients to housing from City of Tucson shelters and ensures housing stability over time. 311 calls based on housing and homeless will be addressed by our navigation team. The Justice Modular supports recently released from jail. We assist these clients with essential resources vital for their reintegration into society. We offer guidance, resources, and support, and we empower them to rebuild their lives successfully. And then we have the newest addition is our permanent supportive housing. This is a housing approach designed to provide stable, long-term housing with ongoing supportive services to individuals and families who are experiencing chronic homelessness or have disabilities. It combines affordable housing assistance with tailored support services to help residents achieve stability and improve their quality of life. The programs that we have, as Brandy mentioned, we have the Frontiers, which serves youth 18 to 24. We have Shelter Plus Care 2, and then we have Shelter Plus Care tenant-based rental assistance, which we are in the process of combining them all
Yeah.
into.
So Jason has just done an amendment to these grants that will combine them all. We started with 275 units in the we inherited all of this housing, actually, Tisha. You may have heard about this from CPIH. And so we took that on 275 units and at different times, right? Because they all start at different times. One starts 6/1, one starts 7/1, and one starts 8/1. So we took them all this year in 24 on their grant start dates. And what we're trying to do is combine the 3 because one of the reasons why our nonprofit partners give up these grants sometimes is because they're in a shortfall. And we know this, right? So we're trying to figure out a way by creating a pilot that combines these three, reduces your housing stock, but increases your supportive services stock without changing your budget line item, without changing your budget amount, just changing what you're expending the budget on, right? So I was working with SBC programs at one point when I was at Old Public Community Services. You remember this, Kim? And we had a Shelter Plus 4 grant that we did not even get paid for the case management piece. So our case managers had to bill access for any engagements that they did. And it was just like trying to put something round through a square hole. It just didn't match up kind of correctly, right? So it's just hard to try to do these. So we're trying to figure out ways to combine grants, marry funding, and streamline some things so that we're getting the most bang for our buck for the person that's experiencing, right? So this is just one way that we're doing it.
And so the services that we are offering with this permanent supportive housing is referral to mental health and substance use counseling, case management, referral to employment assistance agencies, healthcare coordination with partners like El Rio, life skills training, and harm reduction practices.
And our main goal, right, is to keep the grants. We noticed also that in these permanent supportive housing grants, people stay a long time. Like we had people that have been in 6 years, you know what I mean? Instead of moving on to a solution. So we're also proving what the move on strategy looks like in some of these grants with the vouchers. Okay, you're stabilized. You don't really need the hands-on case management, the intensive case management. Let's move you into a voucher so that you're still getting a subsidy, but you're not now having to follow through with the case management piece of it, and you're self-reliant. And this is how a person transitions through these continuum of care programs, move on strategies, and then eventually become self-sustaining.
Okay, and then support staff. So we have support staff in this department, and this staff completes administrative duties to support staff as we work to fulfill our missions. So we have a budget analyst, and she ensures that all Housing First funding sources are on track and that the Housing First is following spending regulations. Reconciles all Housing First budgets on a monthly basis so that leadership knows remains in all budgets. Ensures that Housing First knows deadlines for spending, makes sure that all staff are in correct PCNs and funding sources, and works with the grant manager to prepare budgets.
So PCNs, personnel control numbers, managing our personnel control numbers. It's like playing dominoes. It's crazy. So this is a new thing too in Housing First, in that we have a business services division here in the city. And it's kind of unheard of that you have a budget analyst outside of business services, working independently outside of business services, but still has all of the cool secret squirrel stuff that goes with the business services financial person. And we actually were given that because of all the grant funding sources that we had to have. Letitia was given to us. She's been with the city, 17 years.
Yeah.
She was given to us. She matches my energy because I'm a crazy person. Everybody on this call is that. And so she keeps my crazy in check by saying, no, girl, you can't spend your money on that. You're going to jail. Relax. This is what you can spend it on. So it's beautiful that they gave me a budget person so that I'm not crazy and spending money and Jason Thorpe is coming after me. We're given a grant writer, which was excellent, right? We
Yes.
found money to have a grant writer. We did have one grant writer, but he moved on to bigger and better, as a lot of people do, right? Once they get their chi, they go on to better stuff. And so now I think we're in the process. Kat, correct me if I'm wrong. Is Kat on this call still? I think they're in the process of recruiting. That post just went out. We'll share this grant writer with Housing and Community Development. I think Neto, you can probably attest to that. I think I just saw that posting go out. So
No,
we are.
The screening panel is December 17th, so I'm not sure when the applications close, but that should be posted.
Beautiful. So we'll have somebody that can like actually go chase some moolah, and we love that, right? because we want to do stuff for our people. So, sorry, Kim, I
Mm-hmm. No,
didn't mean
it's
to.
it's fine, it's
bombard you.
fine. Okay, so now.
So now it's my
Okay,
turn. So I'm gonna
Community
switch with her.
Services.
Sorry. So thank you guys for your patience.
Yes.
Kim is learning to be on Front Street and she takes some of my stuff off of my plate and she's talking to media, she's doing presentations, so she's growing. So
Yeah.
we appreciate your patience and we're trying to like tutor her into
trying to
this
get me there,
position.
yeah.
We're getting her there. So I love that we're having the opportunity to do this. So community safety, health and wellness. So the areas of focus for community safety, health and wellness have always been the right work in the right hands, right? They deal with housing and homelessness in a different way than we do. They're more about prevention. They're more about the behavioral health side of the house, mental health, substance use, the crisis prevention that we're seeing in the Viva sites, getting people empowered to speak up, because we know that most of the time people in poverty will not say, hey, bro, my AC is broken. What are you going to do about it, complex? Because they're afraid that the complex is going to say, well, you know what? You're evicted. You know, that people are afraid to speak up. So, and we know this. So this is part of community safety, health and wellness's work, is to go into these Viva sites and talk with the neighbors, make sure that they're activating and knowing how to speak up for themselves, and trying to work with the county on some poverty relief efforts. So that's all good. So they have care coordinators. Kristen's one of them there. These are some of the people that she's helping. So they have 5 care coordinators. The 4 currently don't pay attention to that. We have Daniel, Susan, Kristen, Ricky, and we have Anthony. Anthony was an intern for a while and he came back when he was doing his master's, and he actually came back to be one of the employees on the care coordination side, and he's loving it.
Yeah.
He's doing some really good stuff.
He's
He
working
just
hard.
actually got a father that by himself, a single dad with 8 children that vary from 8 down to 4, huh? Or 15 down to 4, right?
15, yeah.
15 down to 4. So literally they're doing really good work. So also, people in need that are identified by 911, TPD, wards and mayors, code enforcement, outreach, 311, the Viva sites. So they have a big piece of 311. They cover all Monday through Sunday. They have staff here covering the 311 line and trying to get the right work in the right hands, right? So that the police are not strapped with case management and behavioral health services, because that's not the right person to be responding to a person in crisis. We need an outreach person, or we need the CERT team, or we need MIST, or we need someone that can deal specifically with that issue. So care coordination support for 100 to 90 days, depending on what people need support with. The case management piece of that, connecting them to the community-based resources. So our nonprofit partners, on the phone, in person, going to their house. They also have a fleet where they can go out and visit people's homes. 7 days of coverage, as I said, the 311 system, so that everybody's getting a call back within 24 hours to provide information over the phone, and provide an additional care coordination of depending on the need for the case. They're working with TPCH rental assistance, the Garcia funds, some of that they've used some funds from Housing First that we've given them to do some really good eviction prevention work, and some remedies like hoarding, like the bed bug remediations, paying for that, paying for people's storage until they can get moved into their new place. You know, they need a couple of weeks of storage. So those type of remedies, right? Referrals from People Council on Aging, food boxes, all of that type of stuff. That's what our care coordinators do. So the violence interruption is done by Oscar and Isaac, right? And they like just really go into the community and try to enrich these communities with just violence reduction, outreach, the harm reduction with the Narcan distribution, building relationships, listening to the residents and seeing what their needs are, doing block parties, resource fairs, all this cool, fun stuff, right? Right now they have a leadership academy going on, and every month it's a new one. So I got to do the one November, I think it was November 6th. And I did a whole presentation around housing inequities. And it was just so well received. 30 people in that classroom, residents and nonprofit partners in that room, listening to what I had to say in an evening class. And it was just touching the questions that people had and the things that people didn't know about redlining and other weird housing inequities that we've experienced in history, right? I gave a brief history lesson and then some things that are currently happening in housing inequities that people aren't even aware of. So it was just really cool. Safety improvements to the neighborhoods like lighting, bike racks, things like that, things that can be upgraded. Oscar and Isaac are really looking out for, right, and trying to do in the community. So with that, we are located at 195 West Irvington, Building 15. We're the El Pueblo Community Safety Hub. So if anybody knows where the Laos Center is on Irvington and 6th, we are in the Grijalva Plaza, right? And we're in the old DES building. So it's a huge space. I think it's, they said, what, 28,000 square feet.
Mhm.
So we're in here, Community Safety and Housing First live in the same building, and we are rehabbing. We're about to rehab this building into some jump space for our officers, our core
Mhm.
missed units, right?
TCP, yeah.
TPD, TC3, so
Mhm.
fire. We want some jump space for some nonprofits. We want people to come on in and partner with us and do all kinds of cool stuff. So now those are the types of things we're doing. James Castaneda, the city manager's office, has been leading us with Swaim and Associates on how we're going to roll this rehab out. So they're drawing up the plans right now according to wants. We got TPD in the room, TC3, some nonprofits to do some brainstorming sessions, and we came up with some plans about what this will look like. And I can't wait until it's done and invite you all over. And I would love for you guys to come now. If you guys just drop me an email or a phone call, absolutely, you can come visit, tour, hook up with our volunteer coordinator, Thelma Magallanes, and do some volunteer work. It's really rewarding. It's really cool to see what's going on the ground with everybody. And if with that, if you have any questions, we will answer.
Do the commissioners have any questions?
Yeah, I do.
Mhm.
Thanks, Tisha. And thank you both for the presentation. It was really, really interesting to hear the comprehensive services that you're providing. I'm an attorney at Southern Arizona Legal Aid, and we do a lot of housing, landlord, tenant issues, tenant defense. What's the best way for somebody to access your services? Because we have lots of folks who come to us who, they need a very short-term amount of rental assistance. And it seems like people keep telling us that everywhere they call, there's no money.
Mhm. I would say that the best thing to do is start with 311.
Mhm.
Okay,
Start with 311 because 311 is going to know. As a matter of fact, on the community safety side of the house, we've already sent our staff through a few of our staff through background checks because we plan to have some staff in that 911 call center listening on those 911 calls to decipher, yeah, that's really not a police issue. You need to send that to us, or we need to send that to code, or we need to send that to, so to get even deeper on the resources. We're also hiring a project coordinator to do just that, just the resources. Kim does it now.
Mhm.
She is crazy about it. She won't release it, so I can't teach her anything else because she's busy all day building resources for 911 and the mayor and ward offices. So literally, we're hiring a person to do that and to go
that's
out.
awesome. That's what I will tell
Yes.
my colleagues and our clients to do. We already knew to do that for code enforcement calls because I'd been in a training and one of the inspectors was like, oh, don't call us, call 311. It's the
Yes.
best way to get a complaint started.
Yeah.
So we've already been doing that for
Yeah. And
code
if
enforcement issues, but not for the other issues.
Yeah, and Wendy, if you're ever not getting an answer or a response, or the person keeps coming at you, please feel free to reach out directly to me and I will get somebody on it.
Thank you, Brandy. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And we just have another agenda item, and I don't know if either of you can address that, but a question came up from an attendee on the last subcommittee meeting, and it was regarding city development processes and, whether someone could address any barriers to housing first. So that's agenda item number 4. I don't see any additional questions. I don't know if you all are prepared to talk about that.
So any barriers to housing first?
Yeah, that's all the information I've had, and I see that the attendee that raised the question is not on the call, but they may review the recording. So if there's
So-
any, could add.
So I mean, if we're talking about barriers to accessing Housing First, or if there's any barriers to, so I'll address both. So there are some barriers to accessing Housing First because we want a solution for the person at the end of the day. So there's certain things that are really super hard to work with. Not saying that we won't work with it, but like sheltering a person that has a sex offense, right? That's really hard for us to do. We can do it. There's some places that will take SOs in the community.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to get, you can't get somebody vouchered that has, is an SO. It's not possible. The Public Housing Authority will not accept that. So there are some HUD-based programs that will take people, that have an SO or an arson conviction, but it's very rare, right? So I would say that's a real hard barrier for us in Housing First, because that and not having at least one person in the household that's documented. That's another barrier. Wouldn't you say that's
Yes,
another barrier?
absolutely.
So that's been a challenge for us. Kim is our bilingual person on our team. And we really get some heartfelt cases where our hands are just tied, and it's so frustrating because we don't have any funding that's like, oh, these people are trying to do the right thing. And just because they're not documented, we can't, or don't have someone in the household that's documented, we can't get them a subsidy. So they're constantly in dire straits or losing a rental, or, they're trying to depend on like literally making tamales or cleaning houses
Yeah,
or doing
Finding any type
something,
of job,
finding
yes.
any type of job that they can find, and moving from job to job because of their undocumented status. So those two things are really, really barriers to Housing First. Or just to housing somebody straight out. That's what I would
Yeah.
say.
Good.
Can you
Yeah,
think
I
of
agree.
anything else?
I just can't. I think those two are the main ones, with the arson, the.
Arson, sex offense, and undocumented
Yep.
status. Those are the three barriers that we face. Housing people in Housing First, or even kind of sheltering some people sometimes, because if we don't have a solution at the end of the day, then they end up staying in shelter just because we have a lot of people that work. We have a 67.5% lived experience staff, and that's with 45 Housing First staff and 10 community safety, health, and wellness staff. So we have a lot of heartfelt people that are passionate about this, and we don't feel good about discharging people no matter the reason, right? Even if it's because we can't come up with a housing solution for that person, we just have a hard time letting go of a person, but some,
Yeah.
those things happen, so. So if they're talking about that kind of area, it would be nice, Tisha, if that person re-engages with you and wants to know more, they're welcome to reach out directly too.
Sounds good. I'll make sure if the person's on the next meeting, that they're made aware. Any other questions, commissioners?
I did, Tisha, quickly.
Okay, go ahead.
Brandy, do you have an employment component built into your supports?
We don't, and we rely on Pima County for that. So we rely on Pima County for employment services or employment ready services. The closest thing to an employment component that we have is the homeless work program. And Kim talked about that a little bit, but that program goes to all shelters. So to Primavera, it also goes to, I'm sure Tisha can talk to that. And we have participants, we have people. So when we go to Primavera, we get 40 people in a day that come and shower. And some of those people are doing it so they can go to day labor or homeless work program or what have you, right? So they can look halfway decent because they want a job, right? I wish that we could expand it. Tish can probably testify to this. I wish that we could do W-9s so that they could work more than whatever it is, 5 times or whatever it is that.
It's
How
9 times.
It's 9 times, yeah, because they can't make over, what is it, $600?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
they can't make over like $600 before they need a W-9. So, or, yeah, is it? Is that, yeah, or not a W-9, it's an I-9
Yeah,
or
it's-
something.
Yeah,
A 1090.
it's a 10.
1099.
Yeah,
That's what it is,
1099, that's
okay.
what it is. So we don't have anybody or a method to do those 1099s, Mindy. So
Yeah.
that's what makes it hard. And our people want to work more. Like at the shelter, we always have a full van,
Mhm.
even the 3 times a week, and it's done on a lottery basis. And we have people that people always want to be on the van.
And they just show up. They
Yeah.
Show up at the time and hope to get picked.
Yep.
It's like it's almost like the day labor.
Yeah. Yeah.
Getting
So
it done.
if we could like ramp that up, I know that it has been ramped up because we started with what, I think 1 van, Tisha, if I'm not mistaken, like I think it was 1 van at one point. And then we moved into, now we have what, 3 going out, I think it is. At Old Pueblo. Old Pueblo's the partner on that, but we pick up a lot at Primavera and
Wildcat.
City of Tucson,
Yeah.
at Wildcat.
Mhm.
Yeah, Mindy, so how it works is there's a lottery system and only a certain number of folks are allowed to day labor for the next day. And then they're picked up. And then, like Brandy said, there's only a limited amount of time they're allowed to do that. Some of the folks pipeline into our program then. Ours is we have the only temporary staffing agency. We pay weekly after that. But both ourselves and the county and various other folks do work on all those services like resume writing and training and trying to find jobs for folks. There's quite a few intersections with organizations that do that.
Mhm.
Any other questions, Commissioners? I did see, let me check a chat. I saw a chat come in. Okay, Tiffany Jones from Pima County One Stop is listening in. They have a program called Job Bridge, which is an intensive job assistance program. If you're interested, please contact tashara.jordan@pima.org.
I know Tashara. I love her.
Thank you for that, Tiffany.
Pima.gov. All right.
Okay, with that, we appreciate your time very much, both of you. Thank you so much for everything you're doing, and thank you for spending some time with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Good to see
I'm
you.
not-
Nice
to
to
see
see you, Mindy. Nice to see you, Tisha, Mark, Wendy, even though I can't see your face. Kat, I already see you all the time. And Mike, thank you so much. And Neto that says Space HCD. Bye, you guys. Thank you.
The next agenda item is item number 5, a review of previous speakers to Housing First Subcommittee, possible action on making recommendations to the full commission. Did you all want to have some discussion time? If there's anything that we're ready to move on by recommendation of the full commission. I think one thing, and I do think the city has been looking at this. I saw it somewhere recently, but I would like the full commission to hear if you all agree, to hear the Phoenix speaker, the city of Phoenix, on that sanctioned encampment. I do think it's timely now, and it's just there are increasingly number of municipalities doing that sanctioned encampment, that it's small, it's contained, it's, all the services are being provided, it's temporary. And if you all recall, we did have a presentation on that with some photographs too. So after giving it some thought and knowing where everything is at this point, I think if we at least make a recommendation to the full commission to hear that speaker on that specific topic, and then if the full commission would like to make a recommendation after that. Any thoughts?
Yeah. I have a thought.
Go ahead, Mindy.
Along with the sanctioned campgrounds, I would be curious if people would support the pallet community, the micro homes that the homing project is getting up and running. next week-ish. So Pallet is a company that will only provide micro homes and then community kitchen space and laundry rooms, bathrooms to organizations or cities or nonprofits that will provide specific wraparound services like Rachel does up in Phoenix.
And who was that speaker, Mindy? Do you
That
recall?
was, I have it right here.
And Neto, do you recall the City of Phoenix speaker?
Rachel Milne.
Yes, Rachel.
Rachel
Right.
Milne is from Phoenix and Dr. Joe. Oh, it's on my desk here somewhere. I have her.
Tisha, what was your question to me?
the
And
home-
Mindy answered it.
Oh, okay.
Just looking at it earlier.
Well, Mindy's looking for the homing project contact name. Anyone else want to bring anything to the full commission, at least to look, to consider any presentation that we've had, since we've had a number of them now, other than the homing project and the City of Phoenix on the sanctioning campus?
Hi, Tisha. So this is a little off of what you just asked about, but I
Okay.
wonder if there are any municipalities that have done some training for their police department. Because one of the things that's really concerning here in Tucson is sort of the mixed message that's getting put out there. We have some officers that are doing awesome work and coordinating with social services. And we've got, we hear other stories of some pretty brutal behavior by officers when it comes to clearing out where folks are camping. And it just seems like there must be something that we could do to sort of address some of that, which I think would cut down on folks who are unhoused willingness to participate in some of these programs because of fear of the authorities. I know that there's been a fair amount of training here in Tucson with TPD about working with folks who have mental health issues, and there's a task force for the officers who work in that area. There's a special team. But I'm just really concerned about some of the negativeness that we hear about police officers that I'm afraid probably isn't exaggerated and probably isn't reported as much as it could be. And if that kind of training about resources and maybe, I don't know, for want of a better word, I hate to say the sensitivity might be helpful. And I don't know if they've done anything in Phoenix or in any of the surrounding areas around Phoenix where there's other police departments. Because I figure the officers in Arizona sort of like come from the same cloth as opposed to, what might have gone on in some other states. Just a thought.
Okay, well, Wendy, one of the things that we were doing in, I know Mark did some research, Mindy did some research, and I did some research, and that, all the speakers that have come before the subcommittee. If you'd like to, or if someone wants to volunteer to do a little bit of research in that area, then I think that would be helpful to the discussion. Alternatively, we could ask HCD staff in the next meeting to provide any information regarding training for the police officers that do go out to encampment.
So I have a friend my husband's friend, kind of my acquaintance, who's an officer. I think she moved to being an officer in Peoria. I could ask her if she knows about anything like that that's gone on. And that might be a start, but having the folks from HCD look, they also have other contacts and resources to look at.
Okay, that'd be great, Wendy. So Wendy, if you want to make that one contact, and then Neto, one of the asks from HCD update will be a request on any training specifically related to officers that go out to encampment.
Okay.
I think
Thank you,
there's
Wendy.
some potential. I think there's going to be challenges and potential increased pressures around the state with the passage of whatever that referendum was related to state shared revenue and
Proposition 312.
312, yeah.
Yeah.
And so I mean, I think this is a very timely conversation. I know I came home tonight going across golf links, and there's quite a rebuilt community down there again, on the the stuff west of Swan and on the south side in that area, that open area. So
That's a very good query, Mark. Neto, can we have the HCD also address anything in regards to Proposition 312?
Sure, I'll discuss it with the leadership here. Some of that, if not most of that, will come out of the mayor's office.
yeah,
Okay.
The city attorney's office.
right.
Okay.
I mean, I believe the mayor has spoken pretty publicly about this stuff.
Mhm.
And so, but there are multiple jurisdictions, and I think there's going to be a lot of concern about revenue reductions.
Right.
And I just think in general, that's a particularly unpleasant, it's going to lead to even more unpleasant conversations, I would imagine. So.
Okay. Thank you for that, Mark. And Mindy, Neto did find the contact and placed it in the chat.
I had Joe's card with her phone number on my desk. I don't know where I put it. But it's the homing project.
Dave, Kristen, Olson, Garibald.
Yes. She goes by
Okay.
G.
Okay, so what we'll do then is we'll make the ask of the commission. If they'd like to give those presentations, we'll have to make it at the next commission meeting. So we don't need to contact them until after the commission says yea or nay. And then we'll take that from there. Is there anything else on that? I think that's plenty, right? We've got 2 potential speakers to recommend, and we've made 2 additional requests of HCD on updates. Anything else?
I'm very grateful that we're bringing this to the full commission.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Mindy. And thank you all for your hard work over the weeks over the months on this. Item 6 is call to the audience. This is the time when any member of the public may address the Housing First Subcommittee. Due to time constraints, the total time allotted for this is 15 minutes. Individuals are allowed 3 minutes each. Due to open meeting law, commission members cannot discuss topics that are not on the agenda. Items brought up by the public may be considered as an agenda item for a future meeting, just like we did with the last meeting. With that, are there any comments from the audience? I don't see any. So with that, we'll go on to item 7. Is there any additional research? I think we kind of covered this with Wendy and the police training aspect. Anything else commissioners want to address? Okay, with that, we'll go to item 5, which is next steps. Agenda items for the next meeting. Let's go ahead and have the HCD update include the police training question and Proposition 312 question, if they can answer it. Is there anything else that we wanted to add to the agenda for next time? Do you have something to say, Neto?
This is not necessary to add to the agenda, Tisha, but Kat Davis is on the Zoom session. I'd like to ask Kat to introduce herself, because she will be the HCD staff representative to the subcommittee.
Okay, thank you. Hi, Kat.
We can't
Can
hear you, Kat. You're muted.
Oh,
There you go. There you go. We can hear you now.
can you hear me? Okay. My name is Kat Davis and I'm team manager. So Elaine, who you guys might be familiar with from previous meetings. And so yeah, I've been here about 3 weeks. Happy to join the HCD team. And work with you all going forward. So I will be here on these meetings, and then I also would love to maybe share about the point in time count coming up at the next meeting, if that works.
Great, great. Yeah, let's add that to the agenda then too, Neto, Kat, and discussion on point in time.
Point temp, correct.
Thank
Thank you, Kat.
Okay, with that, the next full commission meeting, we don't have the new date. When is it, Neto?
December 5,
Okay, so our next meeting is December 5th.
and that is a hybrid meeting.
That's right.
The in-person portion will be at the Primavera Service Center. I forgot the
Training
address.
Training Center, 151 West 40th Street, and the Training Center. It's
Mhm.
right next to Food City. You have to go to the Food City lot to get there. I look forward to seeing you all there. With
I'm
that,
sorry.
we're adjourned.
What is the address again?
151 West 40th Street.
Got it.
Thank you all.
Happy
Okay.
holidays.
Hey, thank you for Giving Day for everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. We are adjourned.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
everybody. Bye.